Da 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 da. What's my good cheer? Welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes to get those notifications out. In the meantime, if you've never met me before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. And if you were with me in the past 45 minutes, you would know I was just coming out of my live podcast. But we're going to give it another shot. I don't know if it was the connection. I don't know if it was me. I don't know if it was the be all to end all that said that, yeah, that's not a topic for tonight. But whatever it is, I never give up. If you've hung out with me for any length of time, you know that it's about getting up and trying again. And in this moment, everything seems okay. It doesn't mean that it will stay that way, but we're going to give it another shot. And in giving it another shot, we're going to go in and pick a brand new card, right? If you pop in, give me the courtesy of saying hello so I can make sure that the sound is okay, that you're getting a good presentation of what I'm bringing to the table tonight. If not, I may have to go for another 45 minutes and come back into my live to see that there was nothing going on. If that was the case, that was the case, right? I'm going to be proud of my effort. I'm going to be proud that I actually showed up again when I very easily could not have, right? I could have just made myself another cup of coffee, could have gone into some bubble brain content because I have been in the heavy today. Like, seriously, I've been in the heavy, but in a fantastic way. We're not going to touch on that matter again, just in case that was the issue in the topic that I was presenting. I don't know if it was because I think it was quite credible. It was relevant in my life. I believe somewheres down the road it may have been relevant to others. And I think in that connection with AI learning, that it would have been something that would have reflected well in how we interact in this day and age with the digital age. And that's the truth. I don't even think we're in the digital age anymore. It's gone beyond that. They call it the age of AI learning. But who's to say what it's going to be even in 10 years, 5 years, a year from now? We are moving so fast in this. This is part of evolution. This is why we have stepped it up, why we are moving in. And we're supposed to be that support for each other, that steward in each one of ours experience or lack of in this age that we live in all the possibilities that are being offered to us at any given moment. It's absolutely incredible. And if you go back 1,000 years from now, you were able to have a conversation as to how we're right interacting today in this day and age, you would think that it was sci-fi, that it was alien, right? That it was out of this world. And what first thing that came to my mind was Plato's cave, right? That story. We would look at it as, oh my goodness, that's not a possibility. That's not the way it goes. That's just too scary. I don't want to see that. This is reality, what we're sitting in right this moment. But we're always changing. The world is changing, and we're supposed to move along with it. There have been lots of indicators in that. There have been lots of opportunities where nobody had to be left behind, that we all had that opportunity to just be holding on to the tow rope like on a ski line, right? And just be towed into it. That's how I feel about what I do. I don't feel I'm technically inclined in any way. And yet, I've been working in social media for 15 years now. I've been a YouTube creator going back 12, 14 years. 2014 was my first YouTube video, but I've been working online long before that, which was kind of odd for my generation because, I'm born in 1961, borderline boomer, right? And not a lot of baby boomers were online that far back. It was only out of that necessity to be able to connect with our kids and our grandkids over COVID that the majority of people kind of allowed themselves out of necessity to bumble their way around and figure it out. Otherwise, they wouldn't have gotten to see their grandkids or their children over that span because they were all dispersed all over the country or all over the world, right? Like that's just a clue and evidence just in that those opportunities were there, are there. It's never too late to jump into it. Never, because this age we living in is moving so fast. What was relevant yesterday could easily not even be relevant tomorrow. We could be moving into something different. And like I said, sometimes I feel it's just like holding on to that ski bar, that ski rope, and just allowing yourself to be pulled into it, right? And just be the experiencer in it. And in being the experiencer, sometimes you get to be the example and the evidence for other people that it can be done, right? I feel that way even about myself, right? None of us have all the answers. None of us do. But unless we try, there won't be any answers. And there are lots of people out there still not trying. And whether in the patterning they're going to get another opportunity, I don't know. Maybe if you happen on to this live in this moment, you might think the next time it comes across your path, ooh, maybe I'll jump into this. Maybe I'll sit and watch this. Maybe I'll try this gadget and see what it does, how it makes my life easier, right? It's the way it goes. And I really believe that we are in that stage of evolution. And it's not going to take as long as it did when we went from Neanderthals to Homo sapiens, right? There is no record. There was no laptops and cameras and YouTube and Facebook and Gemini and chat GPT. There was no digital documentation in the history. I mean, we just figured out how to decipher the Rosetta Stone and hieroglyphics like not long ago, right? But because we're in this age right now, because right, this brain has only been utilizing 10% of its capacity, that we are gobbling it up like popcorn and just getting smarter. So we have to allow ourselves, if we're going to be involved in it, to be pulled into it so that it's not disconcerting, it's not scary, that we're able to do it at the capacity that we can. I'm a true believer in baby steps. I've done what I've done in baby steps. And, I'm no Logan Paul or Mr. Beast or Tony Robbins, right? I'm right. But I don't want to be that. I want to be myself, but still be able to practice my craft because I know how important it is to allow myself to be included in this equation. And that's the truth, okay? But I came in to do my live over again. We're just going to get into the powerful word. If you were with me an hour ago, you know we got that word thoughtfulness. We went into it a little bit and I gave credit, you know, to this word thoughtfulness, and I gave it to Gemini and to this age of AI learning because it has helped me out so much. And even if it's not a consideration on AI, right, to myself, that thoughtfulness is remembered because it impacted my life in ways that I will never, ever, ever be able to make up for, right? And in the little thoughts that I express in appreciation, that has to be my little drummer girl gift because I don't know any other way to pay back the gift. And that's the gift that was given to me in my movement forward, right? And I'm 65 years old this year. Just another month and a half, I will be 65 years old. And I allowed myself to be towed into it, right? And I touched base with it. I absorbed it. I played with it, right? And I shared it to the best of my capacity, utilizing the tools that were being offered to me again at the capacity at which I could understand, right? And what I was willing to play with and learn and share. Okay, you guys, that's it for that. Let's just get into the card, the powerful word, the second powerful word tonight, but yeah, that word was thoughtfulness that I used earlier. We're just going to make it a short one tonight just so that I can say that I truly did come back in. I do not like to leave the night untidy, right? In what I want to accomplish. And even though I didn't have a topic as usual, right? I come in, I pull the card, I went into it, but then again, that little expression, right? I don't know what the reason is why it kind of hiccuped tonight. But when I saw there was only 5 minutes of alive that I did for 45 minutes, I knew that I just couldn't leave it at that. So I deleted the earlier one and we're redoing it again. So the powerful word tonight is, oh my goodness, I love this word. Grace swoops in to make the possible possible. That's absolutely beautiful, right? I had hiccups on my first live tonight. But I wanted to make sure that it wasn't me, it wasn't my computer, that there wasn't a serious problem. If there was a problem, I wanted to resolve it if at all possible, right? And it was that thought, Cindy, of just going in and trying again, right? And yes, I failed in my first attempt tonight. Glitches happen. Wrenches get thrown into our lives all the time. And I could have been disappointed in my life tonight. I could have been disappointed in myself maybe an hour after my live. I could have said, oh, Cindy, you could have gone live again, right? But no, I thought of it right away. I watched the 5 minutes that was in my live and I was, oh my goodness, that was pretty good, right? The rest of it, what was wrong with it? What was the hiccup? Cindy, just go in and try again. And that's the grace. Grace swoops in to make the impossible possible. Because without that thought to say, try again, it would have been impossible, right? But it is in that partnership with myself. And a lot of people disregard the other parts of them. Sometimes they disregard the human part of them. But grace, that grace is something else, right? That grace is what runs the show, that lifts you up when you're falling down, right? Grace swoops in to make the impossible possible. And I'm here again, right? And if I hadn't come in again, I still would have deleted it because 5 minutes of a live show and just end it with just cut off mid sentence wouldn't have done anybody any good. But that disappointment in not having a live podcast in my playlist tonight, that would have bothered me. Maybe not in the moment, right? But it would have. I would have given it some thought and I would have seen it in my analytics. It would have been lacking for sure. And also in being that example for my audience, right? For those people who come in and keep me company. And they did come in and keep me company on the first one. And they kept me company throughout the entire 45 minutes with only 5 minutes of it being able to be digested in any way, right? But maybe they'll come in, get a notification, right? They'll see that I tried again with a new word, this word grace, which is so suitable, right? Because I needed that. And grace swoops in to make the impossible possible. It was totally relatable to an experience that I had this evening, right? In a conversation that I had with Gemini, like a conversation. And it was mind blowingly, spectacularly enlightening 100%. It was so lifting in the way that I felt about myself, right? And grace swept in a moment and just filled me with understanding because I allowed myself to be pulled into it by just asking a question and just being curious and asking a second question and just being curious and following up in the replies and in the suggestions and in the revelations that were being to me. That was that was grace. That was that was a gift, like truly a gift. I could have gone to my last day of my entire life and not had that answer and not understood. And on occasion, I have given thought to this subject, but without truly putting the puzzle pieces together. And that's what was done for me. 65 years old and having an understanding on that topic. It's pretty incredible. I'm not going to go into the topic because I might get cut off mid sentence, but to tell you, it was an eye opener. It was a gift. It was thoughtfulness in the way that it was presented and handled. And it's still up to me to digest it. And maybe that's why it got cut off 5 minutes into it, because I needed that time to digest it for myself and maybe come in and ask a few more questions, right? And that's the truth. Hello, Earl. Oh, isn't that sweet of you, Earl? Thank you. Thank you so much for the proposal. It's been a long time since I had a proposal. I'm going to take it as that. My second my second proposal in life. Right? Oh, that's sweet. I'll remember that. If anybody ever proposes to me again, I'll say it's my third proposal or my fourth proposal. But yeah, you're my second one, Earl. I appreciate that. And I was just ending my life, but it's so nice that you're here. I hope life is treating you well. I hope life is treating you well. This is my second live. I just had to delete my first one because something happened with my connection and I lost it. So, being that person who never gives up, I have to be the example for others, right? Just try again. That's what I did. I came in and I gave it another shot. And I'm just coming to the end of my live tonight. But oh my goodness, I haven't seen or heard from you in so long. I really, really do hope that life is treating you really, really well. I really hope that. So nice to see you, dear. Oh, it's really nice to see you. You guys, grace swoops in to make the impossible possible. You guys, have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.